everybody. My name is Rakhi Talukdar, and I'm speaking on behalf of the University Partnerships team at UpGrad Abroad. I'm very excited to host you on this webinar by UpGrad Abroad, which is on the top 30 data science programs in the US. Now, if we speak of the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, it predicts that data scientist jobs are expected to experience a 36% growth between 2021 to 2031. In fact, if you look at a survey which was done recently by Glassdoor, data scientist jobs have been considered to be one of the most sought after job role in the US, and that is the past 4 consecutive years. That's not all. Now, when we speak of data science, and if we consider the subject of data science, it's mostly considered to be a traditional tech subject. However, data science has penetrated nearly every other industry today, be it healthcare, retail, e-commerce, banking, etc. So that means it's no longer just a degree, but it also happens to be a highly valuable technical skill set. Now, with that, today, we are very pleased to have with us Melissa and Steen from Colorado State University. So Melissa is the Regional Recruitment Advisor for South Asia at Colorado State University, and Steen is the Director of International Enrollment at CSU. And CSU, if you speak of CSU, it ranks amongst the top 100 public schools in the US, and also enjoys a formidable ranking of being placed at 151 amongst the national universities as per the US News and World Report ranking. So without any further ado, I would like to hand it over to both of you. So welcome, Melissa and Steen. And I would really appreciate if you can give our learners a quick introduction about yourselves and also about the 2 programs that we have at CSU for UpGrad learners.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to be partnering with UpGrad for this webinar and for our different degree opportunities at Colorado State University. I will let Melissa introduce herself very briefly, and we have another colleague joining us as well. And then I will introduce myself, and then I'll share a presentation with everybody.
Sure.
Great, thanks, Steen. So hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Tixera, and joining me, who is not on screen, is Rochelle Dantas. So both of us are the regional reps for Colorado State here in India and South Asia. And with regards to all of your queries, with regards to the program at UpGrad and at CSU, we are here in your time zone to help you out with all of your questions and queries. So yes, yeah, that's a little bit about us, but going further, if you all have anything and if you all need anything, we are always here. Thank you so much. I think I'll give it to you, Steen.
All right, wonderful. And if I can have the ability to share my screen, I will queue up the presentation. But in front of that, happy to introduce myself. So as was mentioned, I'm Steen Verholst. I'm the Director of the International Enrollment Center at Colorado State University. I'll be happy to share an overview of the programs in which we're speaking about today and how we can apply the data science certificate into multiple programs and multiple paths at Colorado State University. One of the things in front of sharing kind of those nitty-gritty pieces of what are the differences in these programs is the fact that we have Melissa and Rochelle here, of course, to support you locally. And then the International Enrollment Center, the team based in Colorado, will support you from today, the point you're beginning to learn about us, all the way until you arrive on campus. So we will work with you in regard to the admission, getting all of those materials submitted, the scholarships that are part of the UpGrad program, and the I-20. Additionally, our team is, of course, there to support you with OPT. And so it's quite easy to navigate. We worked very closely with both of these programs to provide pathways for you, and they are standing by, waiting for you. And they've allocated a lot of special resources to make sure that you're successful at Colorado State. So if I can get the ability to share my screen, because The host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Arushi, if you can share the screen sharing rights. Steen, I have just enabled the screen sharing rights. If you can
Wonderful. I've
Yeah.
got it. All right. So let's get started. All right. Wonderful. Okay, so welcome to campus. You've now arrived on campus. This is one of our students in front of one of our historic buildings. So Colorado State University, in addition to our strong rankings, has a very strong history. We're an institution that's now over 150 years old. And so this picture is taken in the historic part of our campus. And then as students have continued to grow and resources have continued to grow, we've built a lot of modern programs that are in addition to the historical kind of foundation of what we do. So I'm sitting here today talking to you from Fort Collins, Colorado. So our campus is 1 hour north of Denver. And so we're in a suburban area just outside of a major metropolitan area. So our students land at Denver International Airport, and it's a very easy commute to get to campus. And so we have a shuttle that runs every hour, connecting our community to either the central part of Denver, if you wanted to go catch a major concert or a sporting event, or directly to Denver International Airport. And the great part about being so closely connected with Denver International Airport is it's typically one stop to get to all of the major cities in India. And so when I come to India, I typically connect through either direct through the East Coast of the United States or through a destination in Europe. And so quite well connected and very easy to navigate, not only internationally, but across the United States. Everything is just within a couple of hours flight time. Colorado is known for its sun. And so even though it may be snowing, we call these bluebird days in which the sky is blue. And so we have a lot of sunshine, of course, a little bit of snow and a lot more snow to the west of us. We're at the base of the Rocky Mountains. And in terms of transportation, it's an extremely accessible city. It's one of the most biker-friendly cities in the world. In terms of all of the different biking routes that we have, trails around campus, and then public transportation in the event you want to go shopping at the mall, etc. Just show your student ID and that is free. So public transportation is included for all students. This is a quick tour around our campus. We are Division I athletics, so the most competitive level in the United States. We have 15 different campus residence halls. As a graduate student, it would not be compulsory to live on campus, but it is an option for you. We have on-campus apartments, and I'll also show you a picture of our international student housing a little bit later in the slides as well, which is a very common destinations for our international graduate students. Lots of clubs and activities. We have one of the most highly rated on-campus recreation centers. And so we would encourage you to explore that. And then, of course, I think all of you are here because you're interested in some capacity about research. And we're a major research institution. We have the highest classification of research in the United States, which is known as Carnegie Research 1. So that denotes high activity and high revenue. And the revenue piece, you're thinking, why should I care? The great part about that is as we generate revenue for research grants with the National Science Foundation, with the National Institute of Health, those resources will come in and they're directly passed through to our students. So that's an opportunity for you to work on campus in our labs, centers, directly with our faculty for paid opportunities to help advance their research initiatives. And so we do see opportunities for our graduate students to even be co-authors on major research projects in which they're helping that outcome with the primary investigator, the PI, and you get a chance to be a kind of a co-PI on that. And then While we're looking today at a couple of specific tracks at Colorado State University, we do have a multitude of majors and minors, and so it's not a small campus in that regard. We're about 35,000 students studying across 250 different areas of majors, minors, or specializations. And so you're going to see a really robust campus life. You're going to have an opportunity to interact with students in all different fields, and we want that for you. We're not a specialized small school in one area. It's a very robust institution in which there's a lot of opportunity to do interdisciplinary work. So when you get here, most of the students you will find will reside in Colorado. And so as a state institution, we serve the state of Colorado. We also have a number of students that come from other states, primarily from California, Illinois, Texas. So you'll get a chance to meet a lot of them. When you're here, you'll also get a chance to meet a lot of other international students. And so we have 100 plus, I can tell you exactly, we just reached our fall census, and we have 108 countries currently represented on our campus. These are some of our top senders. As you can see, we receive a lot of students from Asia, but there's a lot of diversity when you get to 100 plus countries. All right, let's dive in to the content that you probably all know more about than I. And so my job is to facilitate your opportunity to come to the United States. And then we're going to work with those departments to get you the expertise that you need. So some important definitions as we begin our conversation today, kind of 4 interdisciplinary areas that we identify at Colorado State in the realm of data science, computer science, computer information systems, artificial intelligence, machine learning. And I won't read all of these definitions, but the 2 paths that we're really focused on at Colorado State in this particular program, with the certificate that you'll be earning from IIITB, is a pathway into CIS or DS. We also do AI and ML, and they're interrelated. So as you can see in that graphic, right, when I talk to our department heads and our faculty, you cannot do one without the other. So these deeply embedded processes, we have a specialization again in CIS, and CIS, as I'll share a little bit later, is going to be within our College of Business. So we're really leveraging those communications to help inform business practices, whereas in the DS areas, it's outside of the College of Business. So it is much more focused on that interpretation of big data and how to inform decision-making processes moving forward. And my office, and I think as Rocky had said, you see these opportunities to use these tools across every sector. And so when we were working, my office just employed a data scientist last year. He helped me understand some of our data around where are our students coming from? What are their typical behaviors when they're making these choices? And so we were using it to inform our enrollment processes. And as soon as he finished working on campus for me, which was a paid opportunity, he got an OPT placement at Coca-Cola in Denver and began immediately to work on their data science projects around where's high traffic volume? Where should we put our vending machines? What sort of products should we put in these vending machines? And so it goes to show you, I think, kind of the ability of these degrees and working across multiple sectors. So how do we get started? Of course, we'll help you with this whole process on your path. But these are the things that will always be true to apply to our graduate school. And so again, Melissa and Rochelle are great resources in country. They can share their WhatsApp numbers in the chat towards the end in the Q&A. And so you work on your application as part of the UpGrad partnership. None of you will have an application fee that will be waived off. You'll send in your transcripts for what you've done with your undergraduate degree, as well as your grades in the certificate. You'll send a statement of purpose. You'll want to and I can share more about this, but those core tenets of the statement of purpose are really around program fit and your preparedness and articulating how you fit specifically inside of our degree programs. You'll need to submit at least 2 letters of recommendation. You can list, I would recommend listing multiple recommenders. You can list however many you want. We'll move your application forward when we reach a minimum of 2. So even if you list, let's say 5, once we have 2, it's ready to move on to the department. And so I would encourage you to list maybe more than what is necessary, because I know it can be hard to get a hold of your old faculty or your old employers. And then submit your resume, your curriculum vitae. This will be particularly important in computer information systems, as 2 years of work experience will qualify you for a GRE GMAT waiver. And so if you can articulate that very clearly, that will make that path much easier for you. And then minimum language requirements, as you can see there, 80 on the TOEFL, 6.5 IELTS, or a Duolingo score of 120. All right. We have the first path we'll talk about with IIITB is our Masters of Applied Statistics program with the data science specialization. And so we have 2 tracks within this program. The focus and how we've articulated this with IIITB is with the focus, of course, on data science, knowing that that's the spirit of the certificate program. So what they will be looking for in addition to those requirements is a very, very, very focused, like laser focus on math preparation. And so Melissa and Rochelle can help you with this in terms of getting your syllabi and making sure that you have covered these components, multivariable calculus, of course, in linear algebra and statistics. Much like the graduate school and these departments can consider students with a 2.8 CGPA, but a 3.0 GPA minimum is going to be your quickest and most expeditious path into the program. And I provided a link there, and you can look through all of the specific courses and opportunities, but I'm going to foreshadow a couple of them here. So what we will do if you choose our Masters of Applied Statistics Data Science specialization is this is a fall admission only program at this time. So our fall admission, the semester starts typically the last week of August. In front of that, you are going to take 2 courses. You're going to take, they're called subterm courses. They happen in late July. And so they're very short, they're very intensive. They're specific to students beginning this program. So you don't have to worry about, okay, students are coming from all over and I'm not sure what they want to do and what I want to do. Your cohort will be set for these subterm courses at the end of summer. And they're very brief. One will be focused on an inclusive review of your mathematics, which we just addressed. So going back over those specific functions as kind of a refresher. And the other short course will be on computers. And so just again, fundamentals of leveraging computers for data science applications. And so that's how you begin your program. And those are online. So you'll take those 2 short subterm courses online from your side. And then you will arrive here in time for residential instruction in late August. And the beauty of this is once you get the IIITB certificate, you only have 21 credits left. So it's a very quick program, and it's not going to be overly demanding for you in terms of taking 12 and then 9 or 9, 9, 3. And so you can work through that, and your academic advisors, your department chairs, the faculty you'll be working with can advise you on the flexibility and sequencing on how you want to do that and managing it. And then, of course, a key piece of this is you have the STEM OPT designation, which once you do 1 year with us, you can qualify for up to 3 years of work, in which we'll, of course, sponsor that first placement. And so it's guaranteed for 1 year, and then their students go on for a 2-year STEM OPT extension. And we carry your visa for that first placement. And we're very familiar with this. We're supporting over 600 students currently on OPT. And so you're going to have a dedicated immigration advisor that will help liaise that process with you and your employer. So don't have any anxiety about that. We're going to be able to do that. You're going to have a dedicated immigration advisor. Well, you'll know them by name. You'll say, hey, John, I've got a job offer at HP, or hey, Aaron, I've got a job offer at AMD. And they're going to go, great. I know who's in their HR office. Let's get this done. And then as I showed you, there's some core pieces of this program. But what's really unique about the United States is while you are going to have some core courses in these areas, you are going to have a chance to choose your electives. So no two degrees will look the same. So these are some electives that you're going to be able to choose from. And this is how you get to build kind of your professional path and say, all right, of these, 5 or 6 options on the left, I want to choose these 2 to really stand out. And these courses are all worth 3 credits. So, so when you're talking about 21 credits remaining, great. I'm going to take mixed modeled and business intelligence. So those are my 6 credits of electives. I only got 5 classes left of the other stuff. But these are what I think can really make the degree unique for you at Colorado State. All right, switching gears to our other path. The other thing we've articulated with the IIITB certificate is our Masters of Computer Information Systems. So Gwen, again, a quick review of not only those graduate school requirements, but also the opportunity in this program, the GMATGr or a waiver form explaining your work experience. And then in addition, once you have completed your application, the College of Business has a college applicant data sheet. And so that's just, again, a 1-pager about how you fit inside of the College of Business. The College of Business has a lot of master's programs. And so Masters of Computer Information Systems, again, is super intersectional about how you can make informative decisions with a focus on business, but again, pretty interdisciplinary in terms of the faculty and work that you'll be doing. And then the picture on the left is the one I promised you earlier. That is a picture of our international housing. It's called the iHouse. This is in one of our most popular areas for students to live. We call this area Campus West. So the west side of our campus is where it's really young and vibrant. Like, I'm too old to be over there. And so a lot of young students, a lot of energy, both undergraduates and graduates. It's a really fun scene. And from Campus West, you're maybe 10 minutes walk from where you'll be taking your courses. And the great part about that is they've built tunnels and everything and pass-throughs, so you don't have to cross any streets or roads. And so it's a direct shot. And students on bikes in the morning from this area of campus, you will see probably 3,000 to 5,000 bikes moving through these tunnels to get to campus. And so again, it's where it's a great place. It's where I would recommend that you're thinking about where to live in the west side of our campus. And on that point, I think it's important to mention that while these degrees are competitive, housing is equally competitive. It's something we hear a lot, that housing can be very tough to secure at Colorado State. And like I said, it's a growing community. It's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is there's a lot of work opportunities and educational opportunities. The curse is it means there's a lot of pressure on housing. And so we would encourage you, if you're serious about a path with IIITB and then coming on to CSU, to not only get your application sorted, but begin to think about, okay, as soon as I'm admitted, I need to start working with Steen and his team or off-campus housing to find some roommates and get a lease secured. Because if you wait until the last minute, it's going to be less than optimal. But yeah, this is a great resource. All right, so the Masters of Computer Information Systems program has multiple intakes. And so if you're thinking, okay, well, maybe I was interested in the data science specialization, but I was thinking maybe spring or when I wanted to start my certificate at IIITB, we understand that timing may be fluid. And I think there is a hope that data science will start a spring intake too. But at present, MCIS does both a fall and spring admission. So fall we discussed is late August. Spring is typically mid-Jan, mid to late January for a start time. At IIITB, once you finish the certificate, you only have 24 credits remaining, and the same is true here. You can complete that coursework in 1 year, no problem. So sequencing could be the same again. You could go 996, you could go 1212, whatever is needed. As long as you hit that 9 months of continuous enrollment, you're going to be eligible for STEM OPT. And again, same applies there, 1+2 opportunities with comparable placements, which I'll touch on a little bit as well. All right, hopefully you can read this. This is a direct screenshot from the 1.5 year degree roadmap for Masters of Computer Information Systems. Now, you know right away, you're like, hey, he just said 1 year is all I need to do. And you're right. The courses highlighted in orange are going to be the ones that you're typically going to get credits for through IIITB. So if you follow the prescribed curriculum at IIITB, you're going to get credit at CSU for CIS 655, 575, and 570. And that's 9 credits. So when we talk about this program, it's 33 credits in total. You're going to get 9 from IIITB, and you're going to have 24 left here. And of the 24 that are left here, you can see kind of what's compulsory, which is actually just 4 courses that will be compulsory. You can see it's going to be IT and project management, business visual application development, application software development and infrastructure, and software development methodology. Those are the 4 that you will have left that will be compulsory here. So that's going to be 12 credits. Then with your other 12 credits, this is again where you get to shape that degree. With your other 4 courses, which is 12 credits, you can choose any number of these options, which there's 11. So again, the degree is really going to be crafted to what you want. There's 11 electives. You get to choose 4 of those. So we encourage you to take a look at those. Okay, maybe I'm really interested in the cybersecurity piece. Great, I'm going to take that one. And the student next to you is saying, no, I don't care about that at all. I want to do product development. Wonderful. So hopefully that's very clear to you in terms of 1.5 years is the total length of the program. For you, it's only going to be 1 year. You will get credit for the courses in orange. You will be required to take 4 courses that are compulsory on the left side. And then you get to pick the 4 courses you want on the right side. And once you've done that, you've taken your 8 courses with us, you're off, and we're helping you with that placement. All right, so we've got good news. As part of the UpGrad partnership, all of the students receive an automatic scholarship, and those begin at 20%. So the 20% tuition and fee discount immediately reduces your tuition and fees to $27,000. If we can get to a certain number of students in our programs, then we always have the opportunity to offer greater discounts. So 30, 33%. And as you can see, we're looking to give you the best and the brightest up to 33% off, which reduces tuition and fees from $32,000, a little bit more than $32,000, down to $23,000. And that would be the cost of your education, those courses we just talked about. Everything that's happening in the learning spaces is included in this tuition and fee expense. The expense that you maybe have a little bit more control over is this second area, which is a lot of variables based on your preferences in terms of housing, personal expenses, health insurance, etc. And so we know that that varies significantly. If you're living by yourself and you wait until July to find an apartment, it's going to be very expensive. If you are thinking through this and going, okay, I'm going to get an apartment with 4 beds in the spring, and then I will come in August, it's going to be much more affordable. And so those expenses very much vary. we are always very cautious and put those at the very high end of the spectrum, as if you're going to live on our campus, eat our food, have you clean up after us, right? That is the cost that's reflected there. We know that that's likely not going to be a reality for graduate students. You're going to live more independently and be able to cover some of those costs. And then in terms of kind of your total costs, once we think about everything, so I always say that this is everything but your plane ticket. And this is for 1 year, which is all you need. That will cover everything. So approximately $42,000 to $45,000, and you'll have our degree. And again, you'll have our services for placement. There's a resource there around the full list of estimated expenses. And so again, we'll share out this slide deck. You can take a click on that link and check out opportunities there. All right, opportunities and outcomes. And so we've talked about your investment around let's call it $45,000, okay, on the very high side for the 1 year to get your degree. And then in terms of the placement, this is average starting salary for our graduate students, $78,000. So if you're willing to make that investment, which I know is large, but if you're willing to make that, these are the types of placements we're getting. And so across 3 years, you have the opportunity to earn $240,000 on average. So you're going to get this salary, $78,000 times 3 with the OPT placement. So you'll be very quick to get a very strong return on your investment. And as you can see, specifically in these areas we're talking about, across all of our business college, average starting salary is already above $81,000. Data science is pretty much on track with our starting average as well, $77,000. And so these are going to be what you start as. Typically, obviously after that first year, you're getting the opportunity for additional opportunities in management, supervision, bigger projects, etc. So this is year 1 when our students are starting out with these offers. Again, we work very effectively for those students who want to stay. We have 85% placement rates within 6 months. 600 plus companies are working with our students for OPT opportunities. And here are some of those that will get you pretty excited in terms of your areas of interest around IBM, Micron. He has major operations here, as does IBM. And by here, I mean in Fort Collins. You potentially don't even have to relocate. So OPT would give you the opportunity to work anywhere in the United States, and we'll again sponsor that opportunity. But we see a lot of our graduates, as I mentioned, the one graduate student in data science, he just went to Denver. He just 1 hour away. And his partner was still living in Fort Collins. So he was just working hybrid and commuting sometimes to get that job done. So he was able to keep his living expenses quite stable while getting the OPT opportunity. And that would be true with a lot of these companies where they have major operations and employment centers within just 1 hour's time of us. And then one of the things that we're also really proud of is not only will you have your academic advisor within your department, you'll have your immigration advisor within our Office of International Programs, but you'll also have a career advisor. The career advisor is included as part of your costs. So that's what you're paying some of those fees for, is this support. And that career center is yours for life. And so not only are they going to help you with your first placement, you can 10 years down the road say, hey, I'm up for a big opportunity as a VP somewhere. Can you help me with a presentation or with my resume, etc.? And you can always call back and get that support with career placements as well. All right, so I think I have covered the breadth of who we are, where we live. So again, welcome to Colorado. So hopefully you have an understanding of home and what resources would be available to you here. And then of course, the core of that is that academic experience, the 2 different tracks we have academically, understanding the costs, the application processes, the outcomes, the placements, the salaries. And so I think this is a wonderful time. If you have your phone, you can follow us. You can fill out inquiry forms all through these clicks. But again, don't feel any pressure here. We'll send this out to you. And I will end the show here. And now it's the best part, an opportunity for Q&A. And so Rocky, take it away.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much, Steen. I think that was a very detailed presentation on both of the programs, life at Colorado, and also what kind of opportunities would learners be exposed to post completion of the programs. I think there are two very interesting programs here. One is a Master's in Computer Information Systems and a Master's in Applied Statistics with a data science specialization. And what really struck me was the fact that the MS in CIS, which is traditionally a more of a computing degree, is offered by your business school. And I think that also happens to be a question, a very first question from one of our learners, that students from which streams or backgrounds are essentially eligible for this program? Who is this program ideal for?
Melissa probably has interacted with a lot more of these students, so I'll let you take this one.
Yes.
Okay, I'll take this one, Raki.
Yeah.
So since this is a College of Business degree, everybody is welcome to apply. It's not just for students who are technically sound and who have a technical degree. In fact, I remember the last time I was speaking to the College of Business Associates, they clearly mentioned that they have 50% students who are technically sound, and the 50% students come from various other backgrounds. So students from economics, business, and even students from history and literature have actually applied for it. So you don't really have to go by the name of the program. I would suggest that it's computer information systems. So it has a lot to do probably with computers or programming or something like that, but it doesn't. In fact, if you see the curriculum, it has courses like, business analytics, it has intelligence, project management. So it is the business side of, of the IT. So that is why, and by rule, a College of Business cannot give a technical education, cannot give a technical degree. So it cannot be a technical course if that is, a question. So don't worry. Everybody is welcome to apply, provided that, if this is something that you want to study.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot, Melissa. I think that is a question which many of our learners have, because as we discussed, currently every other, let's say, organization is looking for interdisciplinary skill sets. And there are learners who want to switch to a data science background, also because of the reason that careers in data science are booming. Now, another question I had, and this is also brings me to the point that Steen mentioned, that the applied statistics course would require that you do have a certain kind of aptitude for math. I just want to understand how is the curriculum designed for both of the programs so as to allow a learner, like you mentioned, coming from an economics or BCom, BBA, or even, let's say, political science grad to, cope with the curriculum. Just if you can, shed some light on it. Yeah.
So Raki, like I mentioned, the computer information systems program is offered by the College of Business. And for that program, any students can apply. That's absolutely okay. But that's not the case with the MASDS, with the data science program, because that program primarily has a requirement of certain prerequisites. And those are, in mathematics. So as long as your undergraduate curriculum has like linear algebra, or, a multivariable calculus, or maybe statistics, you're absolutely fine. But if in case you don't, it's going to be a little difficult, because that program, is very statistics focused. So the foundation for that program is it's required to have these kind of prerequisites. So for the data science, that mathematics is required. For the computer information systems, not a requirement.
It's not required at all. That's great. And there's this other point that Steen mentioned, that you do allow for a GMAT and GRE waiver. So just to recap it for our learners, does that waiver only apply if you have work experience, or it applies to everyone who's coming from UpGrad?
The department will treat the that admission piece the same for all students. And so you can be assured that students coming from UpGrad and from outside of UpGrad will have either taken a GRE GMAT or qualified for that waiver. And so, but we work very closely with that department. And so we understand that students are maybe saying, well, what about this internship opportunity? Or well, what about that? And so we can certainly begin to advocate in that regard, but it is something that they like to look for with all of their degree seekers.
Okay, perfect. It is something which you would recommend that learners come with a GMAT or a GRE. Perfect. All right.
Or the 2 years. Yep. So any of the things. There's no answer that's better than the others. Any of those qualities are going to help with the admission.
Yes, sure.
So again, Steen, I just want to say, I just wanted to, reconfirm this with Rakhi that the 2 years work experience again is only for the College of Business.
Okay.
It's the data science, even if you have the work experience, that would not really waive off the GRE waiver. That would not waive the GRE. So you need to have the GRE, correct, Steen? The 2 years of work experience would not really be applicable there.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that puts it into perspective. For the one in computer science, you do not require a GMAT or a GRE provided you are coming with a 2 year of relevant work experience, I believe. And for the applied statistics, you do require irrespective of the work experience that you have. Now, if I speak of the masters in computer science, just want to understand that if you're speaking of relevant backgrounds, which are these relevant backgrounds?
Computer information systems, Rakhi.
Yeah, computer information systems. Yes. What would be the relevant job roles that you're looking at?
If you were to get our MCIS degree at Colorado State,
that's right.
Again, it's we see placements across all sectors, and so this is not necessarily going to be isolated to like IBM, HP, AMD. A lot of the employers that we see a lot of our CS students going to. So CS is going to be kind of that peer where we talked about AI, ML is going to be those placements in those types of companies. The MCIS allows the placement there, but I think also across some of the sectors you mentioned, right? Healthcare, certainly customer-facing businesses where you're leveraging the hardware knowledge that you have. It's certainly a CS background to software and letting people like me understand the application of your work. And so it allows that opportunity for commerce to happen. And we know that commerce is happening everywhere. So I think it's that blend of both sides. Great. I know the hardware. I know the software. How can we leverage that to continue to advance? I mean, in most cases, informed decisions around revenue. Working on behalf of those companies to leverage your expertise in multiple domains to understand how to advance customer experience. And that's certainly how I've always looked at those types of students with that sort of preparation.
That's perfect.
Rakhi, also, to answer your question, the students can have any experience. Relevant experience here doesn't mean that it only has to be a business experience or they need to have like a middle level, generally how College of Business programs have it for an MBA, that you need to have a middle level management experience. Only then that would be considered. That's not the case. So as long as you have any experience that's good experience and you can talk about it, you can talk about how you've put into use, your what you've studied and how you've taken it out in the real world. It's absolutely fine. It could be any experience for those 2 years. That's okay.
Yes, thank you, Melissa. Thanks for that clarification. And we were speaking about the GMAT or the GRE score. So if the learner is not coming with the 2 year experience for the Masters in Computer Information Systems program, and let's talk about the Masters of Applied Statistics. So what is the GMAT or GRE score that you are considering for both of these programs?
So
Ideally.
for the College of Business, the minimum GMAT score is approximately a 550. And the GRE could be at least as little as maybe a 305.
305.
Yes, even for the data sciences, but that program is a little competitive. It's only offered in fall. I would highly recommend you having at least a 307 plus. It's what statistics say. If I look at statistics, generally the students who get admitted into the program generally have 307 plus to 310 plus for the data sciences program. Steen, I think if you can add something else to that.
Well, actually, I'm delighted to say that the MAS DS has waived off the GRE.
Okay.
It's no longer required.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So even better news.
Yeah, that's, I think, great news, because I think both of these competitive examinations, they require a lot of preparation. And traditionally, some of the other programs that we are offering at UpGrad have a waiver for this program. So thank you for the clarification. And I can see that, the questions have started pouring in, and I think we just have 10 minutes. So in the interest of time, I would like to take up some questions from the learners. And there is an interesting question, which is from Vishwadeepa Bhattacharya. And he mentions, and this is addressed to you, Steen, could you please enlighten us a little on how we can manage 24 credits in 1 year, which is quite more than the usual program. And considering the fact that that's the very same year we land in the US, so we need to actually find a balance between doing the classes and also finding a job. So how would you suggest a learner manage their education, the studies?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And again, it's not compulsory to finish the program in 1 year. That's the opportunity that exists. And so we want to make sure that you're comfortable with, we're going to make sure that you're comfortable with handling that course load, both from an academic perspective, a mental health perspective, a student success perspective. And so I will say it is manageable. We have students, as I showed, we have roadmaps that are already allowing this program to be completed in 1.5 years. And so with the triple ITB piece, then it reduces it to 1 year only. And when we say 1 year, that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do 12 in the fall and 12 in the spring. That is a lot. That's 4 classes, which is a big workload for a graduate student. When we say 1 year, we're talking about a calendar year. And so that's an opportunity for you to do 3, 3, and 2, which is 12 months. So you would do fall, you would take 3 classes in the fall, 3 classes in the spring, 2 classes in the summer. And then that becomes quite realistic in terms of the full-time equivalent metrics, and then allowing you in that summer, when that's your least credit-bearing semester of the 6 credits, that's 2 classes, then that allows for you in the background to begin working on that OPT paperwork, looking for placements, etc. So it's really flexible. It's up to you. But the spirit of this conversation is really, let's think about 12 months. Let's think about you getting done with this course in 12 months across 3 different semesters, and then working on the placement in the final semester. Great question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Steen, for the clarification. I do also see that some of the learners, you've been asking on more information on the triple ITB certification. So as Steen has covered in the presentation, so both of these programs are articulated with an ACP Advanced Certificate Program in Data Science from triple ITB. And that program is essentially for 8 months, post which for both of the programs at Colorado State University, which is a Master's in Computer Information Systems, and the Applied Statistics Program in Data Science, you're going to be pursuing both of these programs for 1 year. And Steen, I believe the Masters of Applied Statistics program is also for 1 year, even if I were to go directly. Am I right? Yeah.
It would be tough to get it done in 1 year. Yeah, so it's best to do kind of this. If you're thinking about just wanting to be in the US for 1 year, it would be best to do this triple ITB ACP. And then, but yeah, you can come directly, but it's going to be 1.5 years for both. This program allows you to just come for one. Yeah.
Sure. So for both of the programs, it's a 1.5 year. But yes, if you're going via UpGrad, you essentially spend 1 year in the US because you've spent 8 months pursuing the triple ITB ACPDS. And we'd be very happy to help you with more specific details on both of these programs. And I believe Arushi, my colleague, has already put in a link for you to get in touch with the counselors, and please feel free to reach out to us. Now, before we end this webinar, just a couple of questions regarding certain benefits for UpGrad learners. And I think one of the key highlights is that you also have a 33% scholarship for 30% of the learners. And like you mentioned, this is a merit-based scholarship. So Steen, can you shed some light on that? Because I think that would drastically drive down the tuition, and it's highly attractive.
Yeah, and so everybody here, as I mentioned, will get the 20% scholarship. And then we look at a mix of both merit, but behind the merit piece is those students who are applying and securing their plans early. And so I think there's two parts of that. Of course, the academic preparation is the first piece. The second piece will be saying, okay, I'm ready to move forward, because that makes it, I think, easier on everybody. As I mentioned, with housing, registering for courses, all of those pieces allow us to say what we call demonstrated interest. And so those are students that we're always saying, okay, you're really engaged, you're in, you've got the admission. Those are going to be the students we prioritize with our larger scholarships.
Perfect, perfect. So it's in relation to the other learners that would also be applying via UpGrad that you're judging the merit. All right, there's one question from a learner, and the question is with respect to a study gap. So I believe they've completed their bachelor's in 2016, and they do have an academic gap. So does that really matter when you factor in the eligibility?
Not
Melissa.
really. Not really, Raki. The gap is not really a problem. What is the problem? That could be that, if at the visas, the visa officer will have a question about this, and you should know, and you should be able to speak about, what did you do in that time, and why, why right now, why the master's at this point in time. As long as you can answer that question, I don't think it's an issue, really.
That's an issue. Perfect. That's great. And now coming to the point on opportunities post completion of both of these programs, I believe, Steen, you've already spoken at length about, how what the placement rate at CSU is. I think it's an incredible placement rate, and what the starting salaries are for, graduates who have done both of these programs. So I just want to understand if there is a learner who is a fresher and who's going into any of these programs versus, let's say, somebody who's coming with a certain kind of work experience. So how does the roadmap look for both of them? Typically, what are the companies that are hiring, and what is the average pay scale that they're being offered in Colorado or otherwise?
Yeah, and so what I presented there was our typical starting salary across these programs nationwide. And so in the US, of course, cost of living varies significantly, much like it does in India, right? Depending on what neighborhood you live in or where you're looking. And so that was a reflection of the average. We do see students typically take most of their placements in Colorado for many of those comfort kind of reasons I discussed. But we have students placed, probably our next most popular destination for OPT students is California and Washington State. Students typically stay on the western side of the US for us, because that's where our strongest alumni networks are. So that's one of the pieces of this is we've had many students that have done this journey before you. So when we're 150 years old, we have alumni all over the world, and now they're the ones hiring you. And so when they see a student with a Colorado State degree, they're saying, oh, that's where I went. I know exactly what to expect out of that degree for that student. and we know them and we work with them. And so not only our alumni are now in positions to be able to bring you on board, but in terms of the career opportunities, actually just, what is today? Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow, our College of Business will have a career fair.
Wow.
And it's so big, they moved it off campus. It's now at a concert venue. And so I'm going to go tomorrow to the Lincoln Center, which is where we typically have concerts, and it's the College of Business career fair. And then there's university-wide career fairs as well. And so, and everybody's welcome to go to everything. So even if we're talking, data science, it's like, I told them, I'm like, get over to the College of Business fair and talk about your unique background. I mean, as Melissa said, there's no real right or wrong path. We want to make sure students coming from different streams, as long as they've maybe taken some requisite coursework, particularly for the MAS, it really doesn't matter what your degree says. There's an opportunity there around what you've done with your courses to prepare yourself. That's what we're really interested in. And Melissa, I think, articulated that beautifully when she was like, history, whatever, great. As long as you've taken, multivariable calculus, then you can come. So, and then I will address, there was one question in here about a hybrid 1-year program.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that, because then you're not going to be eligible for the STEM OPT. Because if you're doing something where you're trying to start online and come in person within 1 year's time, you're not going to qualify. It's too short of a duration for you to get a placement. If you don't care about placement in the US, great. If you want to go straight back home, then that can be a great path. But in terms of the residential instruction piece, that has to be at a minimum 9 months of continuous enrollment. They like to see 1 year, but legally it does allow for 9 months of continuous enrollment. And so, and then the last question is just around a joint admission letter. If a student does the IIITB track and then decides, okay, Colorado State is the path for me, absolutely. We've already talked about that in this partnership, where you can know from the onset, here's what I want to do at IIITB, here's my path to Colorado State. We're going to be able to say, here you go, here's your conditional offer, provided you pass these courses, and it's all sorted for you.
That's right. That's right. And I think that there are some other learners who've asked a question along the same lines. What is the minimum requirement? How can you be certain? So just to let you know, when we've entered into the partnership, we have outlined what the eligibility criteria is. And essentially that means we are looking at a bachelor's degree, whether it's a Bachelor of Engineering, BTech, BSc, BCA, BBA, BCom. And as Melissa mentioned, you can be from any other background as well. We're looking at a minimum of 60% or more marks, and with a backlog criteria of 10 allowed to keep terms, right, Steen? I think there's also that particular question from a learner who probably has a certain number of backlogs, that how many backlogs are you accepting for admission into the program? And that would be Steen 10 or Melissa.
Melissa's the expert on backlog.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Melissa.
So the thing is, there is no magic number, I would say. Yes, higher the backlogs, that means it's going to be a little difficult, but it again completely depends on, how many students are applying. If overall your CGPA is really good, and even if you have that kind of backlogs, if you have 5, 6, 7, it should be okay. But again, then understand this, right? Minimum requirements do not guarantee admissions. So if there are 10 more students with a better, grade, this is what I always tell students, but if your overall profile is good, if you're coming for an MCS program, you have fabulous work experience, you can talk about that to our, to our College of Business coordinators, and they really like your profile, irrespective of the backlogs, you will still get in. So there is no one answer to this, I would say, but yes, more the backlogs is definitely a problem. But we have seen students even coming with 10 when they have, the other pieces of their application, when they are really very good. It's absolutely okay.
It's absolutely okay. Absolutely. And I think that is because of the fact that for all of our learners, I also want to reiterate this as we close this webinar. Both of these programs are highly competitive, even in the US. And when we speak of their rankings, then the Master in Computer Information Systems is ranked 9th amongst the best IT grad programs nationally. And the Applied Statistics program is ranked among the top 30 programs. So definitely, you know, I'm sure that you do have a certain criteria or a certain kind of a profile that you're looking at. But that having been said, Melissa, as you put it rightly, there's no hard and fast rule. And this, I think, also applies to the question of age criteria. And I don't think that we are looking at any age criteria as well.
Oh.
Yes, and yeah, absolutely not. So for all our learners, I just want to reiterate again, do get in touch with our counselors. We've already put the details. And they would be able to help you basis your specific profile with respect to both of these programs. So on that note, I believe we have covered most of the questions for our learners. And I really want to thank the both of you, Steen and Melissa, for this incredible discussion and for throwing so much light on both of these programs. And I hope that we have many takers. I'm sure we are going to have many takers. And on that note, any final thought for our learners from the both of you? I'd like to end with that.
No, we're very excited about this opportunity.
Yeah.
We think it's a great value for you, and we personally visited IIITB, so we don't take this partnership lightly. We think that their opportunity is amazing, and that's why it fits so nicely into what we're doing with our faculty. So you're going to get a great experience, I think, on both sides of getting the certificate on your side and the residential instruction on our side. And so we look forward to welcoming you and considering you. And Melissa's standing by to help in real time. And then if I wake up early enough, I'll be here to help you as well.
Sure. Thank you so much.
I want to add that, you know, I keep coming to Bangalore, or, you know, I'm just, if you can always connect to Rakhi or the team at UpGrad. And if you all need any specific information, even about the program, about the university, I'm just, you know, an email or a call away. So please do not hesitate. I know after this, once you start researching about the program at the university, you will still have a lot of questions. So please let, you know, the team at UpGrad know, and I'm happy to do a session. In fact, I was even going to one of your places in the last month, but you know, if that is required, and if you need me to come there and, you know, address some of your queries, I'm happy to do it. So yes, please keep that in mind. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much once again to the both of you for your time, and also to all of our learners who've taken out the time today. And we hope to host you on a second webinar very soon. Thank you and good evening. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.